Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and I want to specifically talk about Dungeons & Dragons canon author, Call to the Netherdeep, and Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. Dungeons & Dragons canon author Matthew Mercer's Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom one-shot. All right, so let's jump into this. So first of all, I've watched the first hour, okay? And so what I'm going to say is based off of the first hour, okay? And and by the way, you're like, wait, why didn't you finish it before you? I don't know what day you live in, right? Like, we make content as we consume the content, right? So, you know, I'm talking about it after watching an hour, so I can talk about it one day earlier, because like every second counts in this world. If you put something on a shelf and you wait, you end up being like Professor Dungeon Master and making videos where you talk about yourself talking on video. I don't want to do that. Right? All right, let's keep moving here. All right, pretty astounding. All right, so first of all, this is pretty amazing, right? So I watched this thing 2 hours after it dropped, and I was pretty astounded. Like, so there were a lot of things that shocked me. So this is what I'm trying to get better at this. I'm going to tell you what this video is about right now. Okay, this video, in my humble opinion, the Matthew Mercer Critical Role, Legends of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom one shot is 100% official. 100% official canon Legends of Zelda content. That's my humble opinion. Every single word of that. And you're like, wait a second, Scott. Wait now. Hold up, Scott. What you saying now? You saying it's official? Didn't you hear the part where Matthew Mercer said this is not official? I did hear that part. I still say, in my humble opinion, Nintendo and Treehouse and Critical Role and Matthew Mercer made a very official, very canon Legend of Zelda Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom tabletop role-playing game, and they made an extremely official Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom tabletop role-playing game one-shot. Extremely official, extremely canon, in my humble opinion. Let me give you, and you're like, oh, Scott, he said it's unofficial. Scott, didn't you hear that part? Yes, I did. I don't stop thinking. Do you? All right, let's talk about unofficial, right? Not official, okay? How do you make something official? Well, it's very easy, very simple, very easy. You get two parties, right? And one party goes to the other party. Maybe you're a domestic multi-million-dollar company like Critical Role, and you just roll right over to Nintendo, and you say, and actually, that's a good question. I don't even know if this is Critical Role. Let's say you're Matthew Mercer, right? A globally famous entity, right? And Nintendo comes to you and they say, we know you make content, right? You and your wife, Marissa Ray, Critical Role. Hey, we'd love to get some of that energy, right? So, they go to official members of Critical Role and say, we'd love to have a Legends of Zelda tabletop role-playing game one-shot, right? So this is a multi-billion-dollar global company talking to members of a multi-million-dollar domestic company. Oh, and you know what? I'm wrong. That's a multi-million-dollar global company. Critical Role is global. They have their stuff converted into different languages. They are a global company. This is two global company sending back and forth legal documents. This wasn't just hammered out over a napkin, right? You got a multi-billion and a multi-million-dollar, two global entities talking to each other with legal documents and talking, their creative teams talking together, their legal teams talking together. That seems super official, right? Yeah. And then, I watched an hour of this. Every single species was spot on. They're like, oh, hey, here's some completely random, hey, we put an ooze in here. There's no ooze in Legends of Zelda. but, Tears of the Kingdom, we wanted you to know this is unofficial. So it's got a bunch of stuff that's not in the game. No, every single aspect to the letter, to the dot and tittle, to the I, to the cross T, is perfect to the game. Because it was very, very carefully crafted as canon, in my humble opinion, right? And so two multi-billion, multi-million-dollar global companies worked very hard, crafted an entire tabletop role-playing game, and carefully crafted a one-shot using all canon content. All canon content, right? Every bit of it, right? And then what happened? What happened at the what they do at the end there, right? I'll tell you what they did, right? Then they said, it's unofficial. Is it? Oh, I'd like to show you unofficial, Nintendo. I'd like to show you unofficial Critical Role. I'd like to show you unofficial Dungeons and Dragons, right? Lots of unofficial content. There's people creating with no permission from the company, right? No communication with the company. No sign-off that you can say Nintendo on it. There are thousands of streams that have a bunch of jank content, or there are thousands that got delisted immediately because they weren't official, right? You see where I'm going here, right? It's official, and then, in my humble opinion, it's 100% official, and then Nintendo comes and says, hey, Matt, throw in the word unofficial. Just throw it in there. Just kind of blah, 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 blah. Why would we do that? Because we're terrified that we don't actually know what a tabletop role-playing game is. And yes, you're exactly right, Nintendo. You don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is, and you certainly don't know what Powered by the Apocalypse is, and you certainly don't know what a tabletop role-playing is. All it does is make stories with your content, right? Like, yeah, of course you're terrified, and of course you want to say it's unofficial, because it terrifies you, the idea that somebody's going to make stories with your content, right? I get it. But guess what? In my humble opinion, you can't just throw the word unofficial on an official product, right? This is my point, right? If Nike makes a shoe and then puts the shoe out, right? And actually, this is happening all over, okay? Lego just did this, right? Lego put out a April Fool's joke horse made of Legos and sent it to multiple influencers. Is that an official Lego set? Lego made it. Lego distributed it. They sent it right to influencers. The only thing they didn't do was make it publicly available on day one. It's publicly available now. I can go buy one, right? I can go to the person who you sent it to and purchase it, right? It's real. It's Lego. It has provenance, right? So that's my point, right? And so where we are now, and I have some sympathy for you, Nintendo, and I have some sympathy for you, Critical Role, right? You want to have your cake and you want to eat it too. But that's my point, is there is a creator and there is an experiencer, okay? I have paid for Legends of Zelda, right? Tears of the Kingdom, tabletop role-playing game. You're like, Scott, you didn't pay for that. That's free. No, I did pay for it, in my humble opinion. You want to hear how? First of all, I got YouTube Red. I don't watch ads, right? So you're distributing on a platform that I paid real US dollars for, okay? Second, I paid you my time, attention, and focus. My time, energy, and focus was given to this. My eyeballs. If you don't understand that that's real value and that's actually worth more than money, I can't help you. I can bring the horse to water. I can't make you drink, right? And so this is the point, right? This is what I've been telling you for months and years. There is something happening on Dungeons & Dragons. There is something happening on Critical Role now. There is something happening on Nintendo right now where the suits do not understand what the creatives are doing, right? This went to some Nintendo suit, and they're like, Matthew Mercer, oh yeah, my kid watches him when he voiced somebody on Castlevania. Print it, go, let's do it, let's make the dollars, right? Having no idea, right, that Legends of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, did you just make a massive invitation for people to make their own Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom content? Did Nintendo just say, hey, there's a tabletop role-playing game system where you can run your stuff? Did they? It's a darn good question, right? And what I'm saying is that these questions are 10 or 20 years ahead of the laws that will govern it. I've been saying this for a while, that all this stuff is going to end up in the Supreme Court, right? Like, and it is astounding what is happening. And so the reality, so that's all I got to say on it, right? I'm just going to recap for you. In my humble opinion, and that's what it is, that's simply all it is. In my humble opinion, what Matthew Mercer just did is 100% Nintendo approved official content. And the reason why I'm saying that is, what do you do to make something official? And I want you to, I guess I did have more to say, I'm sorry. Look at it. This is where we're at, right? We used to try to tell counterfeits. Now we're trying to understand that that when we're told something is a counterfeit, it's actually the real thing, right? Nintendo tried to get away with giving you the actual Gucci handbag and saying, oh, that's a copy. No! If Gucci made the bag and gave it out, that's official, right? Like, that's an official Gucci bag. If Gucci made the bag and then distributed it, that ain't a counterfeit. Even if Gucci says that's not real, right? How do you make something official? You involve the actual official company who owns the content. And if you have permission, the company then coming back and putting not a single attribute on it that makes it counterfeit, literally using the creators of the content. Matthew Mercer literally is Ganondorf. Nintendo owns Legend of Zelda, right? Tears of the Kingdom. And every single species and aspect of the game was fully 100% lock solid to the actual video game. The only thing about it that's unofficial is them saying it's unofficial. And I'm saying that's not enough, in my humble opinion, to actually make it unofficial. Not even remotely enough. Right? This is a Gucci bag made by Gucci, distributed by Gucci, right? And then Gucci saying that's not real. It is real. You made it, you distributed it, you signed off on it. Yes, right, this is real, right? If you wanted, and trust and believe, Nintendo, if you wanted an unofficial Legends of the Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom tabletop role-playing game, one-shot, you didn't have to do a thing, because I can bet you right now, there's already 15 up on YouTube, right? By some jank person who did not call you and did not make an official one, right? But if you made it, I'd say and you used literally you literally used Legend of Zelda, content creators in the creation of it, and built your own tabletop role-playing game to get it there. Oh yeah, you may, and this is what I'm telling you. We're no longer looking for counterfeits. We're trying to tell the people who made the thing you made is 100% authentic. We're trying to convince the creators of authentic material that what they made was actually authentic, and that them saying it's inauthentic isn't enough to make it inauthentic. You got to do something to make it inauthentic. You got to put in species that don't belong, that aren't actually in the game. You got to use creators who are not connected to the original source, and you got to have no permission from the company who owns it. That's what it takes to make something unofficial. But when all those things are there, in my humble opinion, that's 100% official. Now, every single word of that is my humble opinion. What really matters is when I get to hear your humble opinion. Do you think, are you foolish enough to believe that Nintendo just slaps an unofficial tag on it and that makes it unofficial? Do you really believe that for 1 second? In my humble opinion, that seems foolish, and that seems incredibly arbitrary, and it also gets to the point where you're like, can we even tell what a counterfeit is anymore? Right? If the company made it and the company distributed it, how can we say that's a counterfeit? Right? We're an upside down world, right? What's really important, when I get to hear your humble opinion, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please consider like subscribing and have a wonderful millennium.